Hello everyone again, and welcome back. This video, I'd like to talk about some of my experiences as an empath. I've talked about this in other videos, how amongst my other abilities, clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, I'm also very highly empathic. So that's affected me a number of times over the years. In a past video, I talked about the week um, 2 Octobers ago, where I thought I was having a heart attack. And I was convinced that I was going to drop dead of a heart attack over the course of a week that October. And it was to the point where I scheduled a physical with the doctor. I had a stress test done, and I was even checking the cemeteries back in Connecticut for a burial plot. That Sunday morning, at the end of that week, I woke up and feeling was completely gone. So fast forward to September, my cousin came to visit, and so met her and her daughter for dinner, my second cousin, and of course, eventually the conversation wound its way into my experiences, abilities, encounters, and I talked about being highly empathic and about how the previous October I was convinced I was having a heart attack over the course of that week. And my cousin replies, well, uh, my cousin, her brother, didn't you know he had a heart attack last October? I said, no, no one told me this. So she describes how he was, had pressure in the chest, felt heavy, had some pains in his chest the entire week until finally someone convinced him to go to the doctor. And lo and behold, 2 days later, had heart surgery. So apparently did have a heart attack and had to have surgical intervention for that. So yeah, so that explains why I was experiencing those symptoms over the course of that week. So that was some pretty heavy validation for me for that. Um, had those symptoms again this probably in September, 2 months ago at this point, for a solid week. Again, pressure on the chest, all this. Of course, I get checked out. There's nothing wrong. Blood pressure's fine. All the tests are fine, but no problem. So I don't know yet what that was, but um, given my track record, I will probably find out in the future if someone else had heart problems that week. Um, and of course, with the election yesterday, um, last night I went to bed early as I can't stand watching races, sports games, anything stressful where things are developing in real time. I'd rather just hear what happened after the fact. So I went to bed early and tried to fall asleep. Stressful, of course. Everyone's really tense. Managed to get to sleep, and then at about 1:30 in the morning, I wake up and I have very strong anxiety, like almost like felt like a panic attack. And I was just anxious, and I start seeing images, situations, little clips of things going on, people running around, panicking, just a very, very high anxiety for the next 3 hours. And of course, when I first woke up and experienced that, I had an inkling what had happened. They had called the election. And so I continued to be anxious, stressed out until about 4:30 in the morning when I was finally able to fall asleep, and then woke up an hour later with my alarm clock, and of course checked and confirmed that yes, the election had been called about that time. So um, yeah, apparently I felt everyone else's stress, panic, and anxiety at that time, and then including my own after that. So as I described it to a friend of mine, it's like, well, what does that feel like? To be that empathic. I liken it to Star Wars, talking about the Force. There's a disturbance in the Force, Luke. That's probably the closest thing I can compare it to. And yeah, I'm not a Jedi. I can't make things fly around the room, but you get a feel in the universe for what's going on. And again, I don't know how to explain it, but if anyone else watching this is empathic, especially highly empathic, put it in the comments if you felt the same way before, and if this is what it's felt like for you, and if you would compare it to Star Wars or not, because that's the closest thing I can use as an example. So um, George Lucas was either very creative, a visionary, or maybe he had abilities himself. I don't know, but seems to be a pretty accurate um, description of what being empathic feels like. It's the force. You can feel the force of the universe, the energy around you, the energy in the universe. And it's not just, people close to you. It could be anyone or anything. If it's that strong, I'm usually picking it up. So, yeah. So at least I've gotten some validation uh, from my experiences. I should mention too that I've talked about having the light come down to me 8 times now. As I'm talking with my cousin and explaining what that felt like, and explaining how I felt the second time I felt it, I was driving into her father's funeral in Florida, and then the light came down, and I started crying like a 3-year-old in the car, calming down before I got out of the car at the end of the driveway. So as I'm describing that to them at dinner last month, well, September, um, lo and behold, here comes my uncle. I could feel it again coming down through me, and I start crying right at the table in front of them. It's like, your father's here, your father's here, your father's here. And like, hello, Dad. Like, I don't know if they thought I was crazy or what, but he came down for another visit. So apparently I have a pretty steady connection when invoked. So again, that was actually good validation, because the first time you're always guessing, okay, who is this? Is it my uncle? Is it father coming down? Someone else coming down? Who is this? So when I was describing it, I felt him specifically come down, and I'm with his daughter and his granddaughter. So I think that was pretty good validation of that one. So again, I'm trying to figure all this out still, looking for mentors. Again, I've been told that I am a rescue medium. So my abilities are a little bit higher than other mediums, I'm told. A lot of mediums just want to work with the light, and anything that is not of the light is evil or dark, or they don't want to go anywhere near it. So, as it was described by one of the mediums I'm hopefully going to be mentoring with shortly, yeah, we don't turn tail and run. We turn around, we run right for it and say, okay, what's going on? We're not afraid to deal with this. Someone's got to deal with it, and that's why we're here, our soul's purpose. So, another interesting tidbit I had mentioned, I talked to 3 different higher level mediums, rescue mediums, and they asked me, what numbers? Do you ever see numbers? And I said, well, I see uh, a lot of 11s, which is an angelic number. So, I mean, more often than anything, I will see 311 or 411, but I also see 911 quite a bit. And one of them told me straight out, that's the sign of a rescue medium, 911, 911. All the connections you want to make to that number, feel free. I think they're all related and all valid. So, including September 11th. So, anyway, that's where it currently sits. So, hopefully, like I said, I'm going to start mentoring with one of these rescue mediums, and we will see where this goes and see how I can develop it and start putting it to practical use for crossing these spirits over. So, anyway, if you have any similar experiences as an empath, or if you're a rescue medium with very strong abilities, please chime in. I would love to hear your perspectives of this. So that's it. Enjoy.